Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tigela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about something that is really bothering me. I'm sure even other people that watch the Senzomiwa Meta trial, they are bothered by that. I don't know if you guys have noticed, Uguti, there is a pattern that happens in that courtroom. Judge Rata will make a ruling on something, and Ubaloyi will continue explaining after the ruling has been made. And the defense, I remember there was a time Umnisi was like, I don't know what is this. There was a ruling that was made. Yetubaloyi comes back and still does supporting arguments or what. I don't know what is this. What's going on here? So I want us to look into that because, hello, what's going on here? Now, number one, what is supposed to happen after rulings? Once a judge, like Judge Ratamukwatling, rules on an objection, that ruling is final for that moment. Counsel must accept the ruling. The case must move forward. No backdoor argument is allowed. If George Baloyi continues to explain, justify, or re-argue after being overruled, that can amount to improper re-litigation of a decided issue, circumventing the court's authority. That is what is happening here, okay? Second thing, why is this behavior legally problematic? A, undermining judicial authority. If a prosecutor keeps talking after losing a ruling, it dilutes the authority of the court. It creates an impression that rulings are negotiable. And if the judge does nothing, it risks the perception that the court is not enforcing its own decisions consistently. B, prejudice to the accused, very serious. Under Section 35 of the Constitution, fair trial rights, proceedings must be fair. The accused must be fair. The accused must not be, proceedings must be fair. The accused must not be exposed to inadmissible or prejudicial material. If Baloyi loses an objection, then continues explaining, often revealing the same excluded content indirectly, that can expose the court to information it already ruled out. This creates procedural unfairness, potential appeal grounds later. C, argument disguised as explanation. This is where defense teams usually object. What looks like, my lord, I was merely explaining, is often actually continuing the argument after losing. That crosses into improper advocacy, disrespect for the ruling. This is something that Ubaloyi does a lot in that courtroom of Judge Rata, and Judge Rata does not call him out. He doesn't call him out, and it happens a lot, and I don't understand why is this judge not doing this. And also, when it comes to point B, prejudice to the accused, and it's a very serious situation because now Ubaloyi, why ezothi eluze objection aphinda funa explain why Judge Rata is not calling him out. It's a mystery to me. Point D, judicial inconsistency concern. If the judge stops the defense when they do it, but allows the state to continue, that raises equality of arms issues. This is a called fair trial principle. Both sides must be treated equally and consistently. If not, it opens the door to allegations of bias or at minimum perceived bias. So that is why I was saying all this point when it comes to point number 2 are something, it's a problematic behaviors that are, in fact, they are legally problematic. That was point number 2. Now let's go to point number 3. Why defense teams push back hard on this? Defense counsel are not just being difficult. They are protecting, firstly, the record are important for appeals. Secondly, the integrity of rulings. Thirdly, the accused fair trial rights. When they ask, is this appropriate? They are really saying, is the court allowing the state to bypass rulings? Umnisi has done this several times. I think Nomshololo also. Even Unqumalo, we saw it last week. We saw it this past week also, Unqumalo putting the judge on the frying pan and asking, okay, what is the way forward? Make it make sense and be clear about it. And he had no choice but to make sure that it's cleared. And Ubaloyi again tried to argue, and Judge Rata did not say anything to Ubaloyi. These are the serious things that happen in that courtroom. Point number 4, the big legal risk for the state. If the state continues, it can lead to appeal vulnerability. A higher court may find the accused was exposed to inadmissible reasoning. The trial was not properly controlled. Weight of the evidence affected, even if the defense is admitted, evidence is admitted, the way it was introduced can affect its probative value. Trial by persistence, problem, name. Where one side keeps pushing until something sticks, courts reject this approach. Courts reject this approach. What the judge should be doing. A judge in this situation should firmly say, I've ruled, move on, stop further explanation immediately, apply the state standards to both sides. Failures to do so doesn't automatically mean bias, but it creates a perception problem, which is dangerous in criminal trials. Now, the bottom line when it comes to this is that this dual behavior, Judge Ratha and Baloyi, that we are noticing can legally translate into undermining court authority, procedural unfairness, potential appeal grounds, perception of unequal treatment. Now, and in a high stakes case like Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, those issues are not cosmetic. They can affect the legitimacy of the entire trial. So Baloyi cannot be allowed to continue doing such things in that courtroom. And Judge Ratha naye is very wrong for allowing Baloyi to get away with those things or even allowing him to do these things. It's very, very wrong. It's not nice. And it speaks volumes about the way he behaves in that courtroom, himself as the judge. It's alarming. It's shocking to say the least. And Judge Ratha is problematic for even allowing this to happen in that courtroom. I don't know about him and Baloyi's relationship. What's going on there? Why does Judge Ratha, why is he so lenient against Baloyi? I don't understand that. Because the same judge that is so lenient to Baloyi is the same judge that shuts down its defense fast with anger issues, uncontrolled anger issues in that courtroom. I remember the other time he said, yeah, that is why I'm losing I lose my temper. If he is able to lose temper for the defense, why is he not losing the same temper for Baloyi? He makes us question a lot of things in that courtroom, Judge Ratha. He makes us question a lot of the things that happen in that courtroom and him being in charge. So when you sit at home and you are watching and you see these things, what comes to mind? Because now I saw them and I thought, let me do a video about them and find out from you guys. When you are noticing these things, what comes to mind? When you are also witnessing these things, what do you think is happening here? Because I'm questioning it. I'm questioning it a lot. And it makes me wonder, why is Judge Ratha bending when it comes to Baloyi? But when it's the defense, he has no patience, no time for them, and he is quick to resort to shutting them down, shouting at them, calling them names. He does a lot of things in that courtroom. He does a lot of things. It's only now that Aboram Sepile are even able to call him out and tell him no. It's only now, but it's been happening for a number of years, and it's not nice. When you see him, what comes to mind? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for commenting, and for everything that you do for the channel. I appreciate it. Please make sure you do not forget to tell your friends, your family, and everybody to subscribe on this channel. I'll see you on our next video. Bye-bye.